I greet you all, everyone. I just want to talk about what is happening in our societies, the killing of people and all that. It's very sad. This is a very sad thing. Everything about it is just evil. Everything about this is evil. Everything about it is evil. And as sad as it is, these things are going to keep on happening in our societies. As evil as it is, these things will keep on happening. Do you want to know why? Because this is the civilization that we have decided to adopt. This is a sad truth. This is a civilization that we have decided to adopt. Just a week ago, another person was killed. Just a week ago, somebody was killed. Or 2 weeks ago, I think someone was killed. And today, another one is happening. Tomorrow, another one is going to happen. Why? Because this is the civilization that we have decided to adopt. This is a civilization that we have decided to adopt. A civilization where people are seen as objects and not as human beings. A civilization where survival is the motivation for living. What are we expecting in our societies? There is no level of morality that can prevent prejudice from happening in our societies. This is a society where God is basically being taken out of institutions. What are we expecting? What are we expecting? These things will keep on happening. Today, all of us are raging. Today, all of us are angry. But we are aiding this. We are aiding these things. Because we are actually part of those people taking God out of our societies, taking God out of our communities, taking God out of our institutions. The only way we can start seeing ourselves as human beings, the only way we can identify that common ground between us as human beings is by understanding that God gave us these identities and God gave us life. Out of God, we want to see people as black and white. Out of God, we want to see people as objects which we just want to use for survival and any other thing that our mind deems it necessary for us. It's only when God is present in our hearts that you might actually see that this thing that you're doing to this person can as well be painful if this thing is done to you. It's only when we have God in our hearts that we can actually understand or have a sense of empathy to know that these things will pain just as it pains another person. Today everybody is angry, but we are all contributing to the ills of our societies because we are all supporting the taking of God out of our institutions. What are we expecting? What are we expecting? That we will live anyhow we want to live and don't see these things happening? It's impossible. It's impossible. Until we understand that God is not a choice, but God is the only way we have to go about this. Then can we understand? Until we understand that God is not something that it's not something that we are making it. God is our only hope. God is our only hope. There is no other way we can do this thing. There is no other way we can do this thing. You cannot completely separate yourselves. Until we understand this, then we realize that God put us here to be of service to one another and not to see people as objects of survival. That's the only reason why a man can kill a fellow man without thinking, because they see the person not as fellow men but as objects. But as objects. And only God can bring that common ground that exists between us, where you can actually see somebody as yourself, irrespective of color or whatsoever. Only God is the common denominator that exists between us. Out of God, we will always want to identify ourselves with the way we look. Out of God, we will always want to be prejudiced. There is no level of morality that can eradicate prejudice. There is no level of morality that can eradicate prejudice. If we are complaining in America that is because of skin colors, what about Africa? What about Africa? Where they say black people are killing black people. What about Africa? What can you say about that? What can you say about Africa where the same black people are slaughtering black people? What can you say about that? Until we come to that position where we understand that we are all human beings, we will continue seeing these things happening in our societies. And we are also aiding it. Because the decisions not to include God in our lives, the decisions not to take God out of our institutions are still being made by us. Are still being made by us. Even if we did not make them, we are supporting them. So what are we talking about? What are we expecting to see? What are we expecting to see? I know a lot of people do not want to hear these things. Or a lot of people do. They want you to talk about what. No! These things have been happening. These things did not just start happening today. These things have been happening. And they will keep on happening until we come to understand that the state at which our minds are deteriorated. Until we come to understand that the states at which our minds are perverse and evil. And we need a change. And this change can only come through God. What are we talking about? America is a country where God is basically being taken out of institutions every day. What are we talking about? What are we expecting to see? What are we expecting to see? People, God is not a choice that we make. God is the only way we have. If we must see these things stop, then we must go back to God. If we must see these things stop, then we must go back to God. Please go ahead and share this message. Please. Please. I know this is a very unpopular message. This is not what people want to hear, but this is the truth. And it is only this truth that can set us free. It is only this truth that can set us free. Please go ahead and share this message, and God bless you. Thank you.